Okay, so we're live. So I'm Shay Munns.
I'm Susie Trepanier.
And Paige do tell.
So I don't know if it's my turn to lead or not. I don't know.
I feel like I did it last time.
And I know I did the summary the last time we had to do one.
Yeah. So I'll do summary this week, and then Shay, do you want to facilitate?
That's fine with me. Okay. Let me pull up the. Wait.
What's the matter, baby?
Hey, I want to talk.
Yep, he does.
Ethan, you're making it hard on me. Okay.
It's appropriate that our discussion is going to be about motherhood.
Yeah. So, anyway, so the first question, because this is about the articles, right?
Right.
I'm on the right page. Okay. So the first question is, which of these readings do you side with more and why? So I guess this is like, I really liked the talk by Sister Beck. And then, I don't know, I was kind of confused. I was like, I don't know if the other thing, I don't know if that's like, some of them I felt like went against with what she was saying, and I was like, wait a second, I'm confused here. So I would say probably with Sister Beck that I sided with her more, because there are some things that in the other one that I was like, I'm not too sure about that. I don't really agree with it. So that's what I thought. But what about you guys?
Well, I'm the same way. I love Sister Beck. I think that, she's an amazing woman, and she always speaks really effectively. And sorry, I think I have like a little bit of a cold, so my throat's giving out. And I felt like what the second article was trying to do was that they were trying to kind of put up like opposition or kind of arguments to what she was saying in her speech, but they weren't direct arguments because she was specifically addressing mothers and what mothers need to know, and the other one was addressing women in general. And so I felt like the person who had read Sister Beck's talk, it was almost like they were looking for ways to disagree with her. And so they were kind of pulling it out of context, little pieces here and there, and then they were attacking something in a roundabout way that it wasn't even really addressing exactly what she said. It was like they were just trying to promote their own views on what it means to be a woman in general. And I don't think that anything that they said necessarily discredited anything that Sister Beck said. They were, I know, that was my feeling.
I had similar feelings too. I thought that Sister Beck's talk was just much easier to understand in the first place.
Yeah.
And where the other one, I got it at some points, but then if I reread it, I was like, wait, does that make sense? And I don't know, parts of it I felt like were almost kind of accusatory of certain things, but like they went about it in like a nice way so people didn't get mad.
Right.
So I'm with you guys, and I liked Sister Beth's talk a lot better.
I was the same way, Paige. I was like, Sister Beck's made a lot more sense.
Yeah, the other one, it was like they were just trying to sound really like intellectual and
I was like, I don't know exactly what you mean by this. I don't, like, could be good or it's not good. I don't know. So, but
well, maybe like if we hadn't read it along with Sister Beck's talk, we would have read it and go, yeah, that's fine. Like one of the lines was about fathers, and it was saying that mothers and fathers are called to be nurturers, And yeah, we believe that, but that wasn't against anything, or Sister Beck did not imply that it was only the mother's job either. That wasn't, she wasn't talking to men, she was talking to women and mothers specifically. So like it was like they were just trying to, you know, be contrary, was my feeling.
Yeah. So the next question says, what did you think was tone and focus of the What Women Know article? Do you see any of the philosophies of men mingled with doctrine? So I kind of what you were saying, Susie. I think it was like they just wanted to prove, like they just wanted their ideas out there, I guess. I don't think, like, because some of the things I'm like, Sister Beck didn't talk about that, and so it's like, where did this come from? So I think it was just like they wanted to put information out there of how they felt about things.
Yeah.
But there was one part that I felt like there was some philosophies mingled with doctrine, and I can't remember where it was in there, but I was like, I don't know. Dang it, I wish I highlighted it.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was a part in there that it was kind of like doctrine, but then some other stuff kind of slid into it. But
yeah.
I can't remember. Dang it, I wish I highlighted it. I should have done that. But anyways, what did you guys think?
Well, so maybe I'm looking at the document right now, and maybe one of the things that you noticed, Shay, was their section that said, we reverence the responsibility to choose how, when, and whether we become parents. And that is true. You know, in our doctrine, we all also reverence that responsibility, and we make it it's always a decision that's made between husband, wife, and Heavenly Father. And so that's doctrine. But then they threw in, we have given birth to children who range widely on every dimension, from personality, appearance, and sexual identity. And I thought, why are they having to throw in, you know, kind of the world's idea that we are not born female or male, but that we are, we have a lot of different genders that we could be born with, which is not doctrine, which is a philosophy of man. So that's just one thing that I noticed. And the other thing is when they talked about women in the workforce, and they kind of made it seem like women who choose to stay home and, you know, raise children and be homemakers, it's because, well, that they're limiting their options. And, you know, that's a worldly view, too, when it comes to, like, having lots of choices. And we've noticed with a lot of different things that the world is throwing out there, they're putting freedom of choice above everything else. And we, as members of the church, we value that because we believe in free agency. But then there was another quote with some reading, I don't know if it was this class or another one, but that said that free agency is a method by which we attain what we need. It's not the bottom line. It's not everything. The main thing is to make the right choice. We believe in the principle of freedom of choice, but we also encourage people to make the right choice. And the right choice may not always be that women have to prepare themselves to be career women out in the workforce. So that was just kind of another, like, it was kind of convoluted, like, let's, you know, mix in this freedom of choice, equality thing with, you know, women's roles.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I guess with this question, I kind of got confused. So I put down ones that I thought that maybe kind of matched up with the article and made sense instead of not making sense.
Well, that's good.
Well, I'm just gonna share that with you guys.
Okay.
Um, there's one point in the What Women Know article where it talks about we reject teachings that encourage women to shoulder ultimate responsibility for every aspect of child rearing and family life, and to take on shame and guilt when things do not go according to plan. I thought that how it talked about that women shouldn't take full responsibility for the aspect of child caring kind of matched up with like what we believe in the other article, because it's like a co-responsibility. It's not just one person that's doing everything. It's supposed to be equal. So that's what I thought that meant, unless I just interpret it into how I wanted it to mean. And then my other thing was the same thing. There's another part that just talked about how one person shouldn't take all responsibility, and I just thought that that was important if that's what they meant by it.
Got it.
Yeah. But that's the thing that that I felt like with Sister Beck, she wasn't saying only one person needs to take full responsibility for one. I mean, she never said that. What she talked about was how important it is to care for the children of the home. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that should be devalued, that it's something that really is very, very powerful. The influence there is very powerful and very important and should be revered and respected. And, I felt like the other article was trying to accuse her of saying that women are the only people that should be doing that, when she wasn't saying that. She was just saying this is an important, wonderful thing. And, and that's it.
No, I think that makes sense. It makes sense to what I said, I think. It kind of cleared things up.
Okay.
So, are we good to go on, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So it says, if there were a document titled "What God Knows About Women and Mothers," which of the two articles you read would most closely resemble that? And I think it would be Sister Beck's, because I like what you were just saying, Susie, is that she gave this on women, but then the other tried to accuse her of things that she didn't say in there. So I don't know. I would think that it would be Sister Beck's article, but I could be wrong. What do you guys think?
I think it was Sister Beck's article too. Everything that she talked about is doctrine. It's what has been taught as doctrine in our church through modern day revelation, and also just through scriptures about women and the special role of motherhood. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think Sister Beck's talk was definitely more in line with what Heavenly Father believes about His daughters and what He hopes for them, and what He encourages, and what He recognizes as our greatest gift to His kingdom. I think that Heavenly Father knows us best, and He's shared with us that, hey, you're best at nurturing people. This is the divine gift that I've given my daughters, and that's beautiful, and it's special, and it's something that we should embrace and be proud of, and not feel like we're any less of a person. The world has tried to teach that people that nurture others and who are kind are also people who are weak, and that's just simply not true.
Yeah.
And I agree with you guys. I think especially since the other article kind of seemed to think that she said certain things when she really didn't, or kind of put a twist on things. In her talk, I feel like she was pretty straightforward to what the scriptures teach, and for the most part, people that believe that don't really question it. So I think it leaves the questions aside, where the other article probably has a lot more people than just us asking questions and saying, does this really make sense? So I like the Mothers Who Know article a lot.
So the next question is, what do you know a woman's role to be in our Father's plan? So when I think of this, I just think of like the proclamation to the family and what it says in there. But like I think that in our Father's eyes, that like as a woman, our role is to be there and to nurture our children. I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do as a mother, is to guide our children and to teach them the gospel and raise them up in it, and I mean, give them everything that they need to be able to succeed, to make it back to our Heavenly Father. But I mean, that's one of the biggest things I see is the nurturing of our children. And I know there's more, but that's the one that this article really made me think about.
Yeah, I really like the definition that Sister Beck gave in the article about what it means to nurture, and it's, let me see if I can find it. But when you think of, when you really look into the word nurture, to help people, to cultivate, care for, and make grow. And I just think that that's really, when you think of that in the context of little children and babies, it just is really beautiful, that we're caring for and we're making them grow, and babies are born so helpless that really they can't grow, and they can't survive. They can't continue to live if they don't have a mother who is going to care for them. So I really like that too, about the nurturing. And I feel like women have a greater capacity to love. I see that in my own interactions with men and women. My husband says it all the time. He can see that my heart is just very, very big, and I love people, and I try to embrace people, and I want to see people happy, and he just has a different, he has a different heart, and it's not that he doesn't love people, but he just has a different kind of capacity to love. He more wants to protect, which is another part of love. But I think that women really like to care for others, and I think that can happen whether you have the opportunity to be a mother in this life or not. You can nurture those around you, and we're just the nurturers of the entire world, I think. And I don't know, I just think that's incredibly important in our world today.
And I agree with what you both were saying. The first thing that came to mind was the proclamation. And from all my classes I've had this semester, they've all kind of referred to it a little bit, so I've got to learn a lot more about it since I didn't really know much about it. And I think that a woman is to be like a wife and have a family and then stay home, but I know that everyone is for the mom staying home, but there's some circumstances where maybe that she can't, but she's the one that brings the children up, and she also has a job of supporting her husband and all his duties, since he's probably the one that's out at work and feels the most pressure because he has to support not only himself but her and the kids. And in one of my other classes, or maybe it was this one, we talked a lot about how a woman's job is also to support the her husband and like his priesthood holding and all the things that come with that. But in general, I think it's just all comes back to family.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. So the next question is, how might a man's understanding and conviction of a woman's role dramatically impact the eternal well-being of children, families, and women? I think of this as like, so if my husband truly understands that, like, what my role in Heavenly Father's eyes is as a woman, then I think he will better help me fulfill that role, and I think overall it will just make us a better family. We'd have a better marriage. We can raise children better together. I mean, it's like, I think of it as like a calling. Is like, so my husband, he's a home teacher or whatever they're calling, but if I support him in that, then he's gonna have that drive, and I mean, I guess even more of a drive, I should say. He already has the drive, but just it's gonna help him, motivate him even more to do that. And so when he truly understands like what my role is as a woman, then he's gonna help me push through the hard times and really try to fulfill that role to the best like capability that I have. And just I don't know. I hope I'm making sense. But like, I don't know. Like, it's the same kind of thing as like when you truly know that you're a daughter of God. That there's just this feeling, and you have I guess, a greater desire to do what's right. And so I think if your husband or a man really understands that what your role is, they're going to have a greater desire to help you push through and do the best you can do in that role. So I don't know, I think it can definitely have a huge impact on your family and your kids. I mean, your children see that, and then your girls want a man that's like that, and your boys want to be that kind of man for their spouse. But I hope that made sense.
That made a lot of sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah, totally spot on. The thing that Paige said before we started on this question, I think that was really profound when she said it just all comes down to the family. And, that is so true. That's what this is all about. That's what makes societies healthy, and it's what helps people feel fulfilled and have meaning in their life, and it helps children grow up to be happy, good people. Like, it's all about the family, and I think that goes along with the husband and wife relationship. And if the husband understands what's best for the family, and that is to have a wife who is able to spend most of her focus and time taking care of the home and the children, then they cooperate together. And if the wife, like what Paige was saying, she supports her husband in his role of being a provider and a protector and the things that he does and his priesthood and all of that, then they're cooperating to make the very best family. So yeah, it's very important for both the husband and wife to understand each other's strengths and how if they work together, they can build a stronger family. But I think, and I find this, I see this even in people that should have this understanding. Even my own husband, he's a great guy, but he grew up in a family where, I don't know how to explain it, but he basically started to get this idea that a woman was more, she was more intelligent, and she had greater value if she also had a high education and a career. And so it took a long time for us to kind of come to on the same page with how important it was for me to stay home with the kids. And he was not super supportive when we had our first child, and I kind of worked here and there, while we had our first baby, and then of course he was in school, and so I kind of needed to work, and I've worked kind of off and on as I've raised my kids, and the financial pressures were always so so hard that that's one of the first things that he would go to if we started to have some strain. He would say, well, you need to go back to work and earn some money. And it really was hard for us to finally, at some point in our marriage, I think it was our youngest was, I think, 3. We'd moved to Texas. He got into PA school. And I had 4 kids, and they were in different schools, and I was running around, and I was involved with volunteering at their school and doing all of these things. And I think somehow at that point he recognized that because I was devoting so much of my time and attention to our children, his children were growing up really well. They were doing well in school. They were good kids. They, were well behaved. And all of a sudden he was like, oh my gosh, I am fortunate to have a wife who is totally dedicated to my kids because we're raising some good kids. And ever since then, he's done a complete turnaround with it. And he just needed to see that what I was doing really was making a difference. It's hard to make a difference when you have just some little babies that are just crying all the time. But
yeah.
And he kind of see me. He's like, oh, you get to take a nap. If your baby falls asleep, and I'm out roofing and doing all this hard labor, and I wish I had your life and that kind of stuff. And I hear that every once in a while with men, too. I don't know if you ever hear, oh, I wish I had your life. You get to stay home and play with kids all day. You get to take them to the park, and you get to go do this and that and this and that. And they kind of, by saying that, it diminishes the fact that what you're doing is super important. And it shows later. It doesn't necessarily show maybe when the kids are little, but it does start to show as the kids grow up, and now he's like I said, total turnaround. He totally supports women who stay home, with their kids, and he's really grateful that I was able to do that for most of our marriage too.
Something that you said about how some men think that women staying home is like this easy job. I feel like we've seen or heard articles more and more about that more recently because for whatever reason it's been more public. And I've seen some stuff where some men have let the woman go out and tend to herself for a day and take over what she's doing at home. And he thought that it was just feeding the kids and then letting them go play and letting them sleep. But then he realizes that it's cleaning, making sure they get to everything that they need to, appointments, and all this other stuff, and that it's a lot harder than what they think. And I think seeing stuff like that is really eye-opening and maybe something that some people should experience just to put them in that situation and know that women that are staying home actually do a lot. They're not just playing all day. And then I had similar things of what you both said. Something I'll just add, I think Shay kind of said it, is that if both sides support each other in the roles that they believe each has and help each other through their strengths and their weaknesses and the ups and downs that they experience as a couple or a family, that if they make the best of it and just support each other throughout everything, their kids will see them cooperating and working together and getting through things, and that they'll want to do that and they'll feel that support and happiness and love that their parents have for one another. If they didn't have that, they'd feel the tension and unhappiness and probably wouldn't want to be what they're seeing. So I think as long as they're supportive of one another and helping each other and the kids through everything, that the kids will see that and want to be like that.
So Paige, I really like what you said. So my husband, it was last semester, I think, and I went back to school I had a couple of classes on campus, so my husband would watch Ethan while I was gone. And he's like, man, he goes, I wish I could switch you and go to school. And sometimes I'd be like, oh honey, I would switch you. I'd take your classes and you can stay home with Ethan. After that semester and he had to watch him, he was just like, I couldn't get anything done. He's like, he was just fussy, or he just wanted my attention and he wanted to play. And he goes, I didn't get anything done, because some days I'm just like, okay, I didn't get any homework done. I didn't get anything that I need. And Blake's like, oh, well, my husband would be like, well, why not? Like, you're just watching a baby. It's easy. And so after him watching, he learned, like, wow, like, it does take a lot of time. And then it's like keeping up with the house and everything. And it's so funny because we were just down at Thanksgiving, and his dad said the same kind of thing to his mom. He's like, well, what do you do all day? And it's like, well, I keep up the house. I keep it all clean. I take care of all these little things that you don't see.
Yeah.
So it's so funny, but once they experience it, then it's like, whoa, they actually do a lot, and they appreciate it a lot more. I just thought that was really funny. But
That's cool to see that though.
yeah, my mom was like, that's a good thing that you guys did that, because it makes it like it makes your husband almost appreciate you more what you do, and it's like realize that, wow, you have a lot to do taking care of a kid, and as more children come.
I tell young couples and young parents that all the time. I say, one of the best things you can do is let your husband care for the kids all day, maybe even a weekend. Like take a weekend away. It's good for it's good for the husband to bond with the kids, and it's good for the kids to get to know dad in that kind of a way. But it's also really good for the marriage, I think, because it helps the husbands understand the value of what his wife's doing. I just wanted to say one more thing because I thought this was really cute. We have a Bishopric member. He gave a talk on Mother's Day, and he told this story, and it was a husband that came home from work, and his kid was in a diaper and all dirty, running around, and there was like a bunch of toys out strewn all over the front lawn, and in the kitchen there was like juice spilled on the floor and all sticky, and there was it just was chaos. It was total chaos. And he was looking around, and he was like, what is going on here? And he went upstairs, and his wife is laying in bed reading a book. And he's like, honey, what's going on? Like, what happened today? And she goes, well, all those things, how you're always asking me what I did all day? Well, I didn't do any of them today. And so it kind of clued him in that, oh, so you do a lot of stuff. So did we lose Shay?
Maybe.
It looks like it's kind of frozen.
Yeah.
So I think we might have lost her. We'll see if she'll try and come back on.
Okay. I didn't even realize that. I just thought she was just staying there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just kind of froze. So I liked the service post that you put.
Oh, thanks.
That was great. So you collected a bunch of stuff for a family.
Yeah. And it was cool to hear about the woman who's housing them, like, tell the comments that the little kids had, because it just showed like how appreciative they were, and I don't know, it was cool.
Yeah. That's like the best feeling.
Yeah.
So on our group site, I was kind of trying to look, but maybe is there a way to, because I've seen like people will ask me, they'll invite me to join a group on Facebook. How can we do that with our Facebook? Like I noticed that you shared it, and then I shared it too. When I saw that you had done it that way, I went ahead and shared it on my Facebook. But I feel like there's a way where you can specifically invite people to join your group.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that if you go to our group page, and then on the right side it says About, and it says Public Group, and there's a paragraph, and then it says 12 members, 11 new, message, invite by email. And then there's like a box that says Add people to the group.
Right.
So I kind of wonder if you type in people's names that you want to invite, if it'll send it to them.
Okay. be nice if there was a way that would pull up our Facebook friends and we could just maybe like click their name, you know,
Right.
so that would send them an invitation to join.
Mhm.
But because we haven't had a whole lot of people join our group.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So I was thinking if there was a way that we could, rather than, you know, ask people to join our group through email or, you know, kind of putting it on their plate, if it would be easier if it just came up on their feed and they could just click join, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And there was an area where you could click that says learn how to advertise your group or something like that.
Mhm.
And it was like a Facebook, like it was like a tutorial on how people who are trying to promote their group.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was like learn how to promote your group. And so I kind of started to read over those, but I wasn't exactly sure what, you know, what it was going to have me do. And
Right.
I didn't want to mess anything up, so I just kind of held off. But I'm wondering if somewhere in there it says, okay, well, you can do this. You can click this button, and now you can start just choosing people.
Yeah, I have no idea, because even when I get those like invites on Facebook to join groups, for some reason I always thought that whoever created it was able to pick like a select all and send it to all their friends.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, neither have I. But there's got to be. You know, there's got to be a place where you just select all your friends and it just gets massively sent out to them and they can join or not join.
Right. I wonder if it makes a difference that ours is like a page and not like an actual Facebook account. I don't know.
I just got a message from Shay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but can't get back on. I wonder if we went through all the questions.
I think we had one more left, and it was just about how can we avoid being deceived by the world's philosophies of men and women's roles.
Oh, okay.
I guess the only problem that we might have is that she's the one that made this group and put it live. Is she the only one that can...
Invite her friends?
I mean, like, the Google Hangout.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if... Because I don't know how to post it.
Oh, I think she'll be able to post it once her power comes back on or once she figures out what the problem is. Okay. She's asking if we still see each other. Well, I guess maybe you and I can just finish up, Paige.
Okay.
She said that we went through all the questions, but we didn't really answer that one that you just talked about. So, so it's what can we do to avoid being caught up in some of the world philosophies on women?
Right, and before that it just says, the Savior has said that in the last days even the very elect shall be deceived, and then it asks, how can we avoid